You're not liked and that's somehow surprising. Ugly but can't stop proselytizing. Dry turkey yet to be basted. Face it, not time spent, time wasted. Rated T by the ESRB. Must fuss TQ plus cry obscene. Droopy, not perky. Chunga so quirky. Savor my zesty flavored beef jerky. Say it's a real woman and a great break dancer. Sip your ideology to fast track cancer. China net billions thanks to goddamn gay US Marvel forced to rebrand. Swimsuit babes take the world by storm. Woke hate pretty, we do not conform. Hassan love Diddy dubs rip up Quran. Hungry like the wolf, we do Ran Duran. Queer philosophy face that cheese grater. Body type ABC ing you later. HRT artificially hormonal. What is cisgender? Oh, you mean normal? TikTok Hayim glory hallelujah. Hetero around here brother, what's it to ya? Future dystopian YouTube fallopian gift of forspoken to your local Ethiopian. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Trans new normals I know can do. Unanimous cultural rejection. Commence to jiggly titty inspection. Last of Us lovers Shelbyville swallow. I'm forced to lead cause I cannot follow. Flat with a limp wrist. Gay Sega Genesis. Every shot woke take. Big money misses. Hello beta testers. Like, comment and subscribe if you've appreciated how suddenly noisy things have gotten. It's been a while since I've spoken to you, and if you're still here after the site's vigorous attempts to shake you off, consider this a treat. I've witnessed 99% of the people I might have considered peers become so drunk in their attention starvation that they're taking hourly shots at one another for clout, pathetically bolstered by people eager to see them fight with so little smoke necessary blown up their ass. I'm glad people recognize I deal in what irrefutably is. The appeal to triviality doesn't apply when the fear of female is no big deal, yet the mods are instantly taken down. Why? Politics. Political bias, entities who believe they themselves on the right side of history are deciding for you and justifying the removal of your choice from inside a fart cocoon of righteousness. And honestly, the more people run their mouth, the better, because the louder this gets, and the more people see it, the closer we can come to a resolution. Frankly, I don't care if the poisoning of a fantasy game with real-life identity politics is something most would class as political or not. The fact of the matter is a lazy virtue-signaling change was made that didn't even white out, if you'll allow the term, the rest of the pronoun-centric, ableist personality and charm that's sprinkled throughout the quest, dialogue, and story of a game that was so relatable that decades later people are eager to jump back in. I've long classed woke as an injection onto compromise. A wheel on a shopping cart that's locked in position that potentially creates a skid mark if you can even push this cart, and most might avoid it in favor of one that, quote, just works. You could say compromised carts have become so prevalent recently that people are scrutinizing them well before they ever put their hands on them. Before launch, I was hailing the decision to forego a lead-up to Oblivion's release as genius, considering eagle-eyed fans would instantly clock differences that unfortunately reflect the limitations self-imposed by politically poisoned entities working under even more out-of-touch lunatic activists. The types implying Stellar Blade's Eve would make women end themselves, and maybe it's a prophecy they're trying to force to come true by having people do their jobs deliberately worse. Should I roleplay as lonely enough to stoop with a sifter for the most appealing turd-shaped straw man from terminally online losers in my comment section, or might we assume that the exact slack-jawed assessment has been addressed years ago when some other tourist appealed to triviality? This hypocrisy is going to be their undoing, but has nothing to do with me. Femininity triggered, so it was toned down, and it's visible at a glance. I feel terrible for the console players stuck with these disgusting and repulsive downgrades when it's clear a 20-year-old game wasn't so heterophobic that it forbid pretty designs for feminine characters, but here we are. Reddit has censored reality for years. Twitter pre-Elon was censoring reality. YouTube actively censors reality, and 4chan recently exploded. So I'll use my increasingly silenced voice to highlight what they're forcing to keep telling you isn't a big deal in desperate response to a sentiment that's so loud that they can't ignore it and must weigh in. Because they gotta be a part of the conversation. They gotta flex that please talk to me energy. Oblivion unironically hopes to get away with policing how you mod the single-player game that you bought with the intent of penalty pursuit for what it classes as offenders. So the mods that revert the apparently trivial body type 1 and 2 gender nonsense back to female and male can apparently get you in big trouble. Nexus Mods has banned multiple mods changing the body type back to the 2 genders because just like flags, some flags anyway, just like presidents, specifically Trump, and just like race swaps, specifically the race swaps that change anyone white, they got a big problem with that and are going to decide on your behalf what you are allowed and not allowed to have. It is my belief if you raise your voice about these hilarious changes from the creatively bankrupt who can not make their own games so must corrupt these decade-old works, the backlash and diverted sales will lead to change. If Ubisoft wants you to get used to not owning what you buy, then Bethesda wants you to know that you'll face more punishment for buying than pirating their games. A bold strategy indeed. Before Oblivion launched, I said, I was eager for more DEI downgrade examples affecting exclusively the women in modern Western games, and it'll have nothing to do with Pronoun devs going well beyond what was necessary for Larry Fink points. And here we are. I retweeted a February tweet of mine saying that it doesn't matter, it's no big deal, why do you care so much? Jizz-crusted whining. You had your chance, they've memorized your dance, they're better than you, if only because they can do what you can't, even with hormone help, and that's listen. And recognizing the passionate seething, removing the mod to free the fantasy game of gender politics, I wrote, understand, they them wish to stop mods reversing female nerfs. As a certain editor-in-chief of The Gamer so frequently makes abundantly clear. But trust, they're well aware of how representation in the way of avoiding pretty mods would affect their site's traffic. If hetero attraction is gooning, what I guess everybody owes their existence to, then gooner power is what's preventing sites like Nexus Mods from banning everything offensive to the woman-diminishing pronoun posse. I'm just glad we're all noticing together and that there's such a big discussion surrounding it. All of this, every last bit, primes Eastern developers to collect billions of dollars from people who aren't so desperate to inject their forgettable, stale, and very of its time gender activism in-game. To all the patrons, sponsors, likers, commenters, and people dropping by to give verbal and financial support, I love and appreciate you more than you know. Cup sizes in the comments, and I'll get back to you guys, because I'm just ready to see where we all go from here. Keep me aware of what you'd like me to cover in the comments and in the Discord, and I'll see you soon.